Here's the patient. Here's the crime scene. That engine looks good, but it needs to be down a half-inch lower. Otherwise, the shaft is wobbling. And I don't think we can necessarily make it to wrangle without the prop in the shaft blowing out the back or destroying our transmission or ruining the transmission or the seal, rear seal on the main, or the packing blowing up and flooding the boat, or all kinds of Audrey's nightmares all in one.
So
I spent the day down there, and my lower back is finally seizing up. There's 6 engine mounts that haven't been moved probably since 1992, and it's 2025 now, and they're pretty seized up. But
and now your lower back is too.
All kinds of maneuvers. I'm now on the last of the 2 seized nuts. So it's actually gone pretty well. I haven't had to cut a single one off. There's been a lot of torch and a lot of penetrating oil and vice grips and cheater bars and more torching and more penetrating oil and half-inch impact gun and 2 trips to the store that's open on Sunday to find out that it's 28 millimeter socket. But I didn't learn that until I ground out a 1/16 wrench. So there's no 28 millimeter sockets or wrenches available for sale on a Sunday in Ketchikan. But I ground out 1/1/16 on the handy dandy bench grinder in the bow. Is working for my wrench, and now I got a socket. Thank you, O'Reilly's, for your crazy long hours. And this old impact gun. And I think I'm going to get this last one. But I'm letting the oil creep in. I just torched it, just impacted it for another few minutes, and it's not budging. But I think I'm going to win. And then I have to lower the engine down so that the shaft is about a half-inch lower than the output flange on the transmission. And it's got this rubber plastic disc thing in there. I've never seen one of those before. It's called a drive saver. And it has 6 bolts, actually 12 bolts, 6 per connection. And it's kind of confusing. But anyhow, that thing only had 2 bolts in it that were snug on one side. The other side was pretty good. But anyhow, serious cause for concern. Like put the boat in reverse hard and maybe have the prop walk out the back. And then you'd have a hole about that big in your engine room, which would ruin your engine pretty quick. So,
Oh my God.
As long as you're in forward, it's probably going to be okay, but it was wobbling bad, and it's just spooky looking. Kind of thing maybe we could have limped up to wrangle, but definitely not. I don't know. I'd love to get out of here and move on to the next chapter, but turns out the next chapter was all day in the bilge, fighting rusty old nuts and bolts in hopes of lowering that engine down. Have to wait till tomorrow morning to get new bolts to lock the shaft and the gear again together, because the ones that were in there, a bunch of them were pretty wallowed out. Could probably limp them up to wrangle, but I don't know. This is kind of stuff where it's like if something goes wrong with this, you're kind of dead in the water. Luckily, we got the anchor working. So my buddy Mike said, he goes, well, you got the anchor gear working, so you could just try it. The anchor is every mariner's last resort. Everything is going bad, just throw the anchor out. At least then you'll hopefully get hung up before you run aground. But around here, honestly, it's usually like 400 feet and then a cliff. So I'm not sure if it even works. Okay, well, it's enough laying around and back in the hole. 6:40. It's been a long day. Okay.
Jumping rope here.
Should I do more heat or just more impact? Now, here's an antique. This thing's making its own heat. It's about too hot to touch from operations. Probably should run it. It wants to turn something. I've just been making it sit there and struggle nonstop. But luckily, this last one I'm working on actually is pretty decent access. It's not the worst one to get to. It's just right here. I got one of the nuts off. It's got a jam nut, lock nut situation. So there's 3 nuts, one on top, one on the bottom, and then one that's actually holding the engine mount up. So once I get this one off, I still have to get the bottom one to move. Otherwise, nothing moves. So I'm just trying to get to the one that needs to move. But my experience has been that if I get the top nut or 2 off, some of them only had 1, some had 2. If I can get the top one off, it seems like the penetrating oil gets down in there to the bottom one. And I haven't had any on the bottom that I couldn't turn after I got the top nuts off. So, optimism. Here's some of my trophies. This is my trophy room here. These guys, 28 millimeter. I mean, what on earth? Why do they have 28 millimeter nuts like this? They're kind of goofy, but that's what they are. Trust me, we figured that out. Bill had to go to the store twice to find the right socket. It was goofy, and here's the one that's the real special tool. It's actually, I'll show you. Here's what it was. This is an 1/16. This one is just ever so slightly bigger. You can see it on that side. So it's hardly any different at all, but there was no way to get an 1/16 on there. An 1/8 was sloppy. So it appears it's 28 millimeters. Just kind of odd for a Cummins engine on an American made boat, but okay. You want to breathe more toxic smoke as I burn this thing off again, or should we just impact it? I think I'll try and hit it with the impact for a little bit first. And if it doesn't move, torch it again. Basically, this boat has, or the engine and the transmission, they're bolted to each other pretty firmly, but they also both get supported. So the engine it has actually 6 bolts, but realistically, you can think of it as having essentially 4 points of contact. And then the marine gear, the transmission, it has 2 points of contact, but it's also bolted to the engine. And so, and the shaft is coming in, the engine is there. So I need to get the engine at the right height to line up with the shaft, but also at the right angle. And so I can raise the front, raise the back, lower the front back. And you're supposed to do this with little feeler gauges, like different thicknesses of paper that you slide in there and go, oh, wow, okay, I'm like 1 hair thicker on the bottom or the top. But we're not going to get quite that detailed here tonight. But I'm definitely going to do my best that I can eyeballing it. And who knows, maybe I'll find something thin to slide in there. But I'm going on to that drive saver rubber plastic thing, and it's not perfectly flat itself. It's been a little bit damaged, and it's also just rubbery plastic. It's not machine steel, so it won't be super accurate. But that's what I'm doing now, is just trying to get the angle of the engine just right to line up with the angle of the shaft, and then I'll lock it in place, and we'll start the engine up and put it in gear once the 2 are connected, and see if it wobbles. And if it still wobbles like I did before, I think I'll just stick my neck in this belt right here.
Yeah.
I won't give up, but it would be really disappointing. I've done things like that before where I worked on something for literally like a day and then finally got it done and realized that all my work didn't solve anything at all. And the problem was actually something different. and that there's a chance of that happening here, but I hope not. At the end of the day, though, I've done some serious service on these engine mounts. If we ever have to adjust it again, it'll be really quite easy because I've put anti-seize on all the bolts and broken them free as from where they had been sitting probably for since 1992, I would bet. I would guess that nobody had done this since then. It's not the kind of thing you just do on the weekend when the weather's nice. Sailboat Dream Life. We need a hashtag for this kind of stuff. Like, yeah, yacht life. Yacht life. There it is. Hot nut. Oh, gone in the bilge forever. Well, trust me, that was the nut. Now I just have to see if I can actually spin the adjustment nut that's underneath, which I think I'll be able to. I'll soak that sucker up real good. And that's the last one. If that one spins, this whole behemoth should actually lower down a little bit. Let her down. And then hopefully I can get the shaft pulled back into the boat and hooked up with this white doohickey propeller spinner thing. Oh. Anyhow, modern day pirate. Don't know what I'm doing, diesel mechanic pirate. But
Doing great. I'm impressed.
learning as I go. This series of jack, it doesn't work. So go finding all the things on board that don't work. It looks great. Looks like it's like new, but it just doesn't actually do anything. But we got another one. This little piece of junk. But we don't need much for this job. Hopefully it works.
This is exciting. Earlier today, it was like this could be a multi-day project.
Not over yet, but it's
I
really looking like it's gonna work.
yeah, but it's just you're really close to being able to move something so huge and massive, which is impressive. Earlier today, it was like I saw you at the beginning trying to move stuff that wasn't moving.
Yeah, well, it really is getting this impact gun. The heat is really helpful, but I would say the impact gun is really, that is the game changer.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Thanks, Bill, for running around and
Yeah, that's
finding
so
that
awesome.
socket for me, because without that, I know what I need to buy now.
Yeah,
I've thought about it a lot, never did, but I need to buy one of those nice battery-powered impact guns
yeah,
because this thing saved my bacon in this
yeah.
old beater, which I
Yeah.
already have an old electric one, but you don't bring it with you very often because it's such a pain.
Yeah.
It's good for today. Had a lot of beating to do. Okay, kids. See you later. This thing, my shirt and pants get hung up on this stuff every time.
Okay, I see right there. You're still stuck.
Trying to undress me.
It's almost like a perfect fit. All right. See you soon.
It's gonna come off. Lo and behold. Might take a while, but it's on its way. Can't resist now. It feels real good. There's a lot of effort, but had a result I was looking for. Just need to test the bilge pumps next.
Going to Wrangle.